They said the prince would wear the crown of his father, but only after bathing his hands in royal blood. No one believed the prophecy except the gods. The drums of Umu Abba kingdom thundered across the hills that night. The moon sat heavy in the sky, round and watchful, as though it too waited for the words of the oracle. Inside the sacred hut, the air was thick with the smell of burning herbs and dread. The old seeress, her eyes white as chalk, rocked back and forth before the flame. The king, mighty Obidiegu, stood silent, his gold bracelets glinting with each flicker of fire. By his side, his son, Prince Zim, watched nervously, his youthful pride battling the chill creeping up his spine. The seeress voice cracked through the air like thunder. A prince will rise above his father's shadow, but the gods demand blood. The crown shall rest on the head that brings ruin to the throne. The king frowned. Enough of this riddles, woman. My son is loyal. My blood runs in his veins. But the oracle did not bow. She pointed her staff toward the prince. Then pray your blood does not call his hunger. A hush fell. Even the flames bent low. That night, as the drums died and the villagers whispered and dispersed, Zimife could not sleep. Her words haunted him. Rise above his father, crown of blood. What did she mean? His father was a great ruler, loved and feared. But lately, power had begun to slip from the king's fingers. Crops failed. Merchants whispered. Enemies gathered beyond the borders. And the prince, ambitious, restless, was beginning to taste impatience. At dawn, Zimife walked to the riverbank, where the waters shimmered gold. He stared at his reflection, the reflection of a man born royal, but chained to his father's robe. Behind him, an elder priest spoke softly. Destiny is a dangerous thing, my prince. It tempts before it destroys. The prince turned. Is it wrong to want to lead? To do better? The priest sighed. Only if the gods have not chosen your time. But Zimife smiled, a sharp, dangerous smile. Then I will make them choose. He didn't see the shadow in the water behind them, something that was not his reflection, but an ancient spirit watching, smiling back. They warned the prince, no heir of Umu Abba must love a maiden of the river goddess. But love laughs at warnings, and the gods never forgive laughter. Days turned to moons, yet the prince's restlessness grew. The prophecy ate at his spirit like termite beneath carved wood. The king, his father, grew weaker, distracted by the failing harvest and sickness in the land. Yet, in the midst of decay, Zimife found something dangerous: beauty. Her name was Adana, a maiden from the river clan. Her skin shimmered like wet bronze under sunlight, and her voice carried the calm of water. But she was not of ordinary blood. She was a servant of Ogugu, the river goddess, one whose touch could curse or cleanse. They met at the riverbank, the same place he sworn to master destiny. What began as curiosity turned into nightly meetings. Beneath the moonlight, he confessed his dreams. I want to build a kingdom my father never called, a place where the gods bow to men. Adana smiled sadly. Then you seek ruin. No man who tries to command the gods dies with peace. But desire deafened him. He reached for her hand, and though the river wind howled in protest, she didn't pull away. From that night, whispers began to haunt the palace. The sacred river had turned murky. Crops near its banks began to rot. And at the oracle shrine, the seeress screamed in her sleep, clutching her chest as if feeling the weight of something breaking. The king summoned his son, Zimife. Zimife, he thundered, I hear you caught the river maiden. Do you not know the curse she carries? Zimife bowed, hiding the defiance in his eyes. Father, she is no curse. She is love. Love? The king spat the word. Love does not defy the gods. End this madness, or I will end it for you. But love had already turned to obsession. That night, Zimife went to Adana's hut by the river. Rain fell like knives, slicing the surface of the water. Adana's eyes glowed faintly blue. She wept. The gods have spoken, she said. Our love has opened the path of fire. Your father stands between you and your crown, and so the gods will ask you to choose. Timofey's heart froze. Choose? She turned his cheek, her hand cold as river stone. Either you bury your love, or you bury your blood. Thunder cracked across the sky, and in that moment, the prince knew the prophecy had begun to break. He wanted power, he wanted love, but the gods demanded a sacrifice, and they always collect what they are owed. The moon hung like a wounded eye over Umu Abba when the first omen struck. The palace drums fell silent. Birds fled the trees. The sacred flame that had burned in the king's courtyard for 40 years suddenly died out, snuffed by a wind that came from nowhere. The oracle was summoned. She arrived trembling, her voice hoarse with vision. The gods are restless, she said. A betrayal is growing inside this palace like rot beneath gold. The king's blood will soon fall upon his own table. The court fell silent. But the prince, he only clenched his jaw. His heart was now a battlefield, torn between the woman he loved and the father who ruled him. That night, Adana came again, her white wrapper soaked with river mist. Her eyes glowed faintly, not entirely human anymore. Zimife, she whispered, the gods have spoken. Your father's spirit sits between you and the throne. Until his breath stops, your crown will remain cursed. He turned away. You speak as though you want his death. I speak as one who sees fate, she said. If you love me, if you love yourself, you must break what binds you. He paced the chamber, fist clenched. His father had raised him, taught him the spear, blessed his name at the oracle's altar. Yet, the old man had also chained him, denied him his freedom, mocked his dreams of change. Now, in the depths of night, that chain felt heavy enough to kill him. When dawn came, the king announced the gathering. The oracle had decreed the offering of royal blood, a symbolic drop to appease the angry gods. But in the crowd, Zimife's eyes darkened. He misread the message. The gods demanded blood. He thought they meant his father's. That evening, while the palace slept, the prince entered the royal shrine. The torches burned low. His father knelt before the altar, whispering prayers. May the gods protect my son from darkness, the king prayed. Zimife stepped forward, tears burning in his eyes. I'm sorry, father, but the gods have already chosen. Before the king could turn, the blade struck, once, deep and silent. The old man fell beside the altar, his blood spilling onto the sacred floor, snuffing out the last flame. Outside, thunder screamed through the sky. The palace pillars shook. The river goddess rose in fury, and the ground beneath Umu Abba split like a wound. Adana appeared in the doorway, her face pale, her voice trembling. You fool, she whispered. You killed not your father, but your destiny. Zimife staggered, dropping the blade. What have I done? The wind howled, cold and cruel, and somewhere deep within the river, the gods began to laugh. The blood of a king cries louder than drums, and And when a prince kills his father, even the gods must rise from their sleep. Dawn broke over Umu Abba, but it was no ordinary dawn. The sky bled red. The birds were silent. The air smelled of burnt iron and sorrow. The people gathered before the palace whispering, "Why are the gods angry?" No one knew that their king's body already lay cold inside the shrine, blood soaking the sacred ground. Prince Zim emerged from the palace, face pale, hands trembling. He wore the royal robe now, heavy and golden, but it burned against his skin like fire. The chiefs bowed reluctantly. The oracle refused to speak. Something in the air reeked of curses. "Your Majesty," one elder said, voice uneasy, "where is the king?" Zimife swallowed hard. The gods took in. His spirit ascended in peace. But the ground disagreed. Thunder cracked, though the sky held no clouds. The earth split slightly under his feet. The villagers screamed as the river Udo overflowed its banks, dark and churning like burning oil. A strange wind swept through the land, carrying whispers only the guilty could hear. That night, Zimife dreamt of fire. He saw his father standing in the flames, eyes burning gold. "You sought my crown," the spirit said. "Now rule over ashes." He woke in sweat. The palace torches had extinguished themselves, and Adana stood by the window, her face wet with tears. "This is not what I wanted," she whispered. "You have doomed us both." Zimife gripped her hand. "You told me to break the bound." "I said free yourself," she cried, "not kill your blood." Her voice echoed, too loud, too heavy. Then it wrapped, deepened. Her skin shimmered like water. The woman he loved vanished before his eyes, replaced by the towering image of the river goddess, radiant, terrible, weeping streams of pure light. Zimife fell to his knees. "Mercy, mother of waters, I was deceived." "Deceived?" Her voice thundered. "No mortal walks the path of greed without opening the door himself. You struck the heart that bettered your crown. For that, your kingdom shall drown with your name." She raised her hands. The palace shook violently. Roof beams cracked. Flames burst from the oil lamps, spreading across the walls. Outside, lightning stabbed the sky as the river overflowed, flooding the lower huts. Cries of panic filled the night. "Adana!" he screamed, reaching into the river goddess light. "Adana, please!" But she was gone. The goddess dissolved into mist, leaving only her words behind. "You will live long enough to watch everything you love turn to ruin." By morning, half of Umu Abba lay underwater. Cattle floated in the river. Children cried from rooftops. The sacred flame, once the pride of the kingdom, was gone, replaced by black smoke curling into a blood-colored sky. The villagers whispered among themselves, "The gods have caused our prince. Our king's blessing cries from the ground. This land will know no peace until justice is done." And deep inside the flooded palace, Zimife stood alone, a king without a throne, a ruler without peace, haunted by the sound of his father's dying breath echoing through the walls. The throne he killed for is now his coffin. The crown he stole is the weight that drowns him. Days bled into weeks, but Umu Abba never healed. The floods receded, leaving behind ruins, dead crops, and silence. The villagers whispered that the land was cursed, that until the blood of the guilty touched the soil, peace would never return. Prince Zim locked himself in the palace. His beard grew wild. His eyes hollowed like a man already buried. He heard whispers in every corner. His father's voice in the crackle of fire, in the drip of rain, in the echo of his footsteps. He ordered sacrifices to the gods, goats, rams, even gold. But nothing changed. The oracle refused his gift. the shrine stayed cold. The gods do not eat offering from cursed hands, the oracle said before vanishing into exile. One night, thunder struck again. Zimife ran outside, barefoot, half mad, into the courtyard where the statue of his father once stood. But now, the stone had cracked. From its chest oozed dark water, like blood from an open wound. Then came the voice, heavy, calm, and final. Zimife, son of Greek, look upon your kingdom and weep. He fell to his knees. Father, I beg you, spare me. You spared no one, the spirit replied. You taught the bond of blood for love that never loved you. You defied the gods for a throne that burns your soul. The earth thickened. The ground quaked. Zimife's crown turned molten, glowing red hot on his head. He screamed, clawing at it as his skin burned. From the palace roof, lightning struck again, splitting the throne in two. At that same moment, the river rose once more, but this time it carried a woman's voice. Adana's, gentle, sorrowful, and distant. Zimife, I was sent to test your heart, but you failed, and now you belong to the river you tried to conquer. He turned toward the sound, eyes wide. The flood swallowed the palace steps. He stumbled backward, but the water moved like a living hand, curling around his legs, pulling him toward the gates. No, I'm your king, he roared. The river answered, no, you are the curse. The last thing the villagers saw before the storm ended was the priest being dragged into the rising waters, screaming, the golden crown melting off his head, sinking into the depths within. When dawn came, the palace was gone. In its place stood a calm lake, reflecting the red morning sun. The people built a shrine by its edge and named it the River of Wrath. No one drank from it. No one fished in it. They said if you looked too long, you would see your own grief staring back. What are the final morals of this story? Power gained through blood will always end in blood. Yes, the gods forgive fools, but never betrayals. And the heart that kills for love will never know peace. I hope you enjoyed this story. Ensure to like, subscribe, and share this story. Thanks for watching.